Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started. Yeah.
Woo! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast, live edition, first ever, kinda. We'll get into that in a little bit, but welcome aboard, everybody. I, of course, am your host. The hardest part of my ring. You put the live lights on, everything just goes to shit. I get all flustered. I'm tripping all over my words. You could say I become the Great American Bash 2004 of podcast host. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, anyways, as per the aforementioned show that I mentioned, Great American Bash 2004 is what we are going to be covering today. No guests, just you and me, just a father-daughter day, just you and me reminiscing, reliving this this interesting show. I'm not gonna say it's a good show because it wasn't, but a very special show. Very special. Maybe the most significant show in my life in terms of pro wrestling. Maybe, perhaps. Hardest part of the ring. It's just fucking Mordecai and Kenzo Suzuki on the show. Well, I'll explain. But first, you see over here, like, subscribe, follow me on all the socials at Apron Bump, join the Discord. If you like this type of episode, you like this era of wrestling, well, I got great news for you. I cover it all. You can go to the link that'll be in the description once I post this. Actually, I think it already is if it's on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube. But after the fact, you can go to apronbump.com, go to the episodes tab, and you can select Ruthless Aggression. And that'll bring you to all of the RA era shows that I've covered, starting from, I guess, like Vengeance 02 is the first one, technically. Every single show through 02, through 03, and up to this point in 04, mid 04, and my goodness, it's a time. Summer of 2004. Not only summer of 2004, but a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. Yeah. But again, you might be asking yourself, you might not have gotten past the fact that just a second ago I said that this is maybe the most significant show that exists in my lifetime. And the reason that is, I've mentioned this on other episodes, so you may or may not know this if you're a consistent Apron Bump listener. But Great American Bash 2004 was your boy's first ever live wrestling show that I attended live. Norfolk, Virginia, hosting this hunk of shit. I was 11 years old. And 11? Yeah, I was 11. And I got tickets to this show. It might have been for my birthday, which was the March beforehand. Whatever the case is, I got tickets. Me and my dad went, just us two. And honestly, I don't have a ton of memories. I remember walking in, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think, like your first wrestling show. But I remember walking in, and my first immediate thought was how small it feels. Like the ring, you watch it on TV, especially as a kid, it feels like just this, it's like a room. It's like this big, it's a canvas, but it's like just this big thing. We're running, we're sprinting back and forth, we're flying everywhere. On TV, it looks like it's this big thing, but you get in there, it goes. That's what 20 feet looks like, I guess. And then, look, if you're not familiar with Great American Bash 04, first of all, I'm jealous. I yearned for the days in which I was not familiar with this show. But you walk in, you got the ring, obviously. It's Great American Bash, so you got the red, white, and blue ropes, which is cool. I like that. The stage was fine. You know, this era of stages for pay-per-views, I liked it. They personalized it for every single show. Not too much going on with this one. Just obviously the red, white, and blue tones in the background. Nothing too crazy. But on the side of the stage, you know, everybody walks out. To the left of where everybody walks out You got a cement truck. I'll let that sink in for a second. A cement truck. Why is there a cement truck? Hardest part of the ring? Well, I'll give you a little tease. This ring any bells? If you're watching on YouTube, I have some visual aids, and if you're watching on audio, I have normal aids. But this ring any bells? Paul Heyman holding on to a lever of a cement trunk of a cement truck with an urn on the aforementioned truck. A lot going on here. You might be confused if you've never seen the show before, and if you have seen the show, you might still be confused. If that doesn't jog your memory, how about this? Thoughts? Paul Bearer frantically being submerged in cement. Is it cement or cement? Or is it concrete? I never know. He's being engulfed in something that you would not like to be engulfed in if you had your druthers about it. But that is the main event. Just a little tease. Just a little tease. Great American Bash. And again, going back to kind of my first experience in a live wrestling show. Very loud. It was a lot louder than I thought it would be. Nowadays, you go to a wrestling show, it's not as loud. They don't play the music as loud. The pyro is still loud, of course, but I just remember it being super, super loud, and just with the cement truck in the corner, you have the red, white, and blue. It was a weird atmosphere, but it was a pretty cool atmosphere. And look, Norfolk, Virginia, first of all, I'll say this. Norfolk, Virginia has not gotten a WWE pay-per-view since this show. July 2004 was the last time the World Wrestling Entertainment gave us a pay-per-view. Now, you watch this show, and it's like, well, the crowd's pretty dead for most of the show. You know what? It sure is. I wonder why. Well, let me show you this. Let me show you this. How's this look? If you're not watching, I'll explain it. These are some of the participants, nay, some of the matches that were on this show. Some of the one-on-one matches that were on a $50+ pay-per-view, or whatever the tickets were. I didn't pay for them. I was a child. These were matches that people paid to see. Luther Reigns versus Charlie Haas. Mordecai versus Hardcore Holly. Kenzo Suzuki versus Billy Gunn. Just look at this shit. What are we doing? Look, we're going to get into the show as we often do. We're going to chronologically flow throughout this pay-per-view. But man, it is just the state of SmackDown at this point. They're trying stuff. Part of me is like, okay, I appreciate you trying, but are they? What the fuck, dude? We'll get into it. I think we should just get into it, shall we? Great American Bash, 2004. Again, my first ever live attended wrestling show. I wish we took pictures. I don't think we took any pictures of this event. I was watching, trying to see if I could see where I was sitting, because the Norfolk Scope, it's a pretty small arena. So I was like, I knew like vaguely where we were sitting, but I don't remember what I was wearing or what the case is. But it's a very interesting time. Very, very interesting time. Norfolk, Virginia, for those unfamiliar, is a big Navy town. It's a big military town. Everyone that lives here is either in the Navy or works adjacent to the Navy. Big military presence here in Norfolk, and hence why I don't know if that's why they called this show the Great American Bash, or if they like wanted to have the Great American Bash and were like looking for, military towns, or if it just happened to be that way. But that's a little bit of backstory of what we got here. And I think military members even got this show for free, which lucky you fellas and fellows. But I remember very little of this show, I think is what I was starting to say earlier. I'm like, why don't I remember a lot about this show? Well, let's figure it out, because I think it's going to be pretty evident why I don't remember a lot about this show. There is one all-timer, though, on this. I think it saves it from being the worst pay-per-view ever. I think there's still an argument, but I think there's one match on this show that saves it because it's so damn good. You could probably guess. If you look at the card, there's like maybe one or two matches that have a chance at this, but let's find out. So the show opens up. First of all, the intro package. Hilarious. I mean, look, it's the Great American Bash, and I keep, hammering that home, but they do a good job at threading that throughout this intro package, obviously highlighting the matches we're going to be seeing later tonight. You got JBL versus Eddie Guerrero in a Texas bull rope match. You got JBL, who thinks he's like the epitome of what an American should be. He's kicking Mexicans back across the border. He's on Wall Street. He has a hat. He's Americana at its very core. And he thinks Eddie Guerrero, that stinking Eddie Guerrero, he's a WWE champion, but he doesn't really represent what America is, what America should be in the eyes of JBL. And JBL seeks to right that wrong by taking that title away from Eddie and becoming the champion of the WWE. So again, this intro package where we're highlighting those tones, it's American, we get it. American versus a guy who maybe isn't an American, or we got an evil American versus a good American. It's all there. It's all fun. And then it cuts to John Cena, who is the United States champion. And obviously the rapping stuff and all of the racy promos and rap battles. He's fighting for his right for freedom of expression. Kurt Angle is looking to quell that. Kurt Angle is looking to take that right away from John Cena. But John Cena, he's an American. He represents America. He has the belt with a flag on it. And he looks to try to represent what the ideals of America are. So, okay, we got John Cena, we got Eddie, JBL. This all makes a lot of sense. Oh, and by the way, The Undertaker's here to try to prevent his manager from being buried in cement from an evil doer who stole his urn. Nothing says America like having your manager abducted and potentially killed for not wanting to join your wrestling stable. Again, we'll go into great detail about the Concrete Crypt match in the main event, because what else would be the main event? Not the WWE Championship Texas Bull Rope match, not the United States Championship, which is what the whole show is, United States. But to be fair, I guess, how do you progress from watching a little portly man get murdered in front of your eyes? I saw it. I saw a man die in front of my eyes. It's crazy. What a first show. What a first event. I don't think I've ever seen anybody die on a wrestling show since. No, I don't think so. We'll have to review the tape. But let's get into the first match, shall we? We got... Boom. So you got a little tickers action, huh? Got a little ticker action at the bottom. You didn't see that coming. Huh? We're moving on up. We got the United States Championship on the line in a fatal four-way elimination match. John Cena, the champion, defending against Booker T, Rene Dupree, and Rob Van Dam. So whenever I speak about this show, whenever the show comes up in conversation, and it does more often than you would think, I I'm always like, yeah, that show kind of sucked, but hey, there was at least like a pretty fun opening 4-way for the U.S. title. Like, at least there was that, right? Now, mind you, I don't know if I've ever actually gone back and watched this show. Obviously, I saw it happen I saw it unfold live right before my eyes. But I don't know if I've actually like gone back and watched this show, the broadcast of it. And obviously, it's one of my first matches because there was dark matches. By the way, the dark match I do vividly remember for some reason. It was Spike Dudley versus Nunzio, and I think it was maybe there was 2 dark matches. I know Spike Dudley and Nunzio were both there, and they both got big pops for whatever reason. But see, we started out, we brought the energy, right? And I meant to say this earlier. Norfolk, Virginia is like a great wrestling town. Sami Zayn tweeted it. It's not just me saying it. Sports Illustrated saying it. Everybody's saying it. But last time they came to Norfolk for SmackDown, which at the time of recording this, it was a few months ago, like 3 months ago. It was the show where Sami Zayn defended against Phoenix. Tiffany Stratton defended her title against Jade Cargill. Cody Rhodes came back from a long layoff. It was a fun show. Hot crowd. Every show for the past few years that I've gone to these live events in Norfolk and at the Scope Arena, always hot crowds. The hottest crowds. There's a clip of Aaliyah. It was like a 6-man tag. I think Aaliyah pinned Natalya, and the crowd came unglued. Like, to a confusing extent. It's because Norfolk just loves wrestling, and we bring the energy. And in 2004, I think we could still bring the energy too, but this show didn't give us a lot to bring the energy out. And this show is an example because, look, you see it on paper. Cena, Booker T, Rene Dupree, RVD. It's a lot of ease there, but it's a pretty good lineup on paper, right? Could be fun. 4-way, sure. U.S. title on the line. We got some stakes involved. John Cena's probably probably the hottest act going in WWE at this point. How could this go wrong? As I said, I have fond memories of this. And then I watched it back. Here's the thing. So the benefit of a multi-person match is that no matter who's in it, you got the potential of like, it'll at least be just chaotic fun. Like, it'll be at least like a shootout, fireworks show. It'll just be bing, bang, boom, good pace, fast pace, no dead air, no fat, all fluff, or whatever, you know what I mean. Triple threats, fatal 4-ways, whatever. Usually pretty fun. At least I think so. They stripped it all away here for whatever reason. Because, yeah, it kind of breaks down in the beginning. The match kind of gets underway. They pair off. But then it just becomes a series of singles matches. Like, at no point, there's no, like, interaction between the 4 people. There's no double teams. There's no double crosses. There's no kind of just, seamlessly feeding from one pair of wrestlers into a third and a fourth. There's a lot you can do with a fatal 4-way, but they chose to just have a series of boring singles matches. Brawl at the start. Rene, Dupree, and Cena are going at it in the middle of the ring. Booker T takes out RVD on the outside, and then Booker T just stands there on the outside watching. Now, at the heart of it, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Booker T is a heel at this point. He doesn't want to get in there. It's an elimination, so he doesn't really have the need to break up pins or anything, so it kind of makes sense, right? You got Renee and Cena going at it in the middle of the ring. Immediately, like 2 minutes in, we already got Renee slapping on a chin lock onto John Cena. Somehow we got a rest hold in a fatal 4-way match. It's unbelievable. Renee chinlock on the RVD, and then Cena eventually finds his way on the outside. Now Cena is just chilling, watching the action. Like, it makes sense, Booker, like, you have a chicken shit heel. Like, I don't want to get in there. Hey man, I don't want to get in there. Sugar ducky quack quack. Well, I'm not gonna get in that match. Man. You know how Booker T is, right? It makes sense with him. But then John Cena, top babyface in the company, he doesn't want to get in there. The fuck are we doing? Just for the sake of this is what this match was. We have 4 guys. Let's get every amalgamation pairing together in a singles match. And every singles match is rushed and with no substance and boring somehow. Lots of chin locks in this one. RVD and Cena get in there, and finally we have some action. They're trading roll-ups, close near falls. We're finally having some fun. RVD slides out, throws Booker T in there. He's like, no, you get in there, bro. Now it's Booker T and Renee getting in there. So now RVD's watching. Everybody loves to watch. Oh no, I'm still wearing these headphones, by the way. And it's just boring. I mean, and yes, Mark, you may be right. Maybe Booker T just likes to watch. But it seems like everybody just likes to watch. I think we just have a match of 4 cuckolds is the issue. Maybe we should have screened the participants better. I don't know. But finally we get some eliminations. RVD hits a 5-star frog splash to both Booker T and Rene Dupree. But then John Cena rolls in with a quick roll-up to RVD for the elimination. And I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's like Cena, again, top babyface, getting in there and getting this shitty little fluky win over RVD. Like, why was he the choice to make this? Like, why couldn't this have been Rene Dupree getting the chicken shit kind of fluky roll-up win? I don't know, it just feels like at every turn this match just kind of shat on itself. So RVD is eliminated by Cena. Cena gives his shitty FU, which it's the one where he doesn't like fall to his knees. It's just, oops, I dropped you. Now you're knocked out somehow. I don't know. FU to Rene Dupree. Then Booker T hits the scissor kick to John Cena. And for whatever reason, Booker T walks around Cena to go pin Rene. Like, why wouldn't you prioritize the champion here? But I guess ultimately it doesn't matter. But it just felt very wonky. Again, this match it didn't flow well. So Booker goes, he awkwardly walks around, pins Rene Dupree, and eliminates him. So now we just got Booker T versus John Cena. And in this iteration of the match, Booker versus Cena actually ended up being pretty good. I dare say maybe it should have just been this all along. Maybe not have a 4-way. Maybe just have Cena versus Booker T. Pretty good back and forth stuff between these two. Scissors kick from Booker misses. Cena, FU, 1, 2, 3. Pretty, whatever finish to a pretty whatever match. Unfortunately, though, this might be like the second best match of the show, third best match of the show. And so yeah, John Cena wins, retains the title. And again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but we have the underlying backstory of Kurt Angle, obviously the Olympic gold medalist. He doesn't think Cena and his rapping and his jorts and his jerseys and his sideways hats, he doesn't think that represents America, which is why he wants Rene Dupree to be champion instead. So think about that for a second. SmackDown 2004, baby. We're cooking. But then we go backstage, or after like a commercial or whatever, we go backstage. John Cena's has his title. He's walking through the halls and he walks by Charlie Haas and Jackie, who were together. Charlie, it's actually kind of a funny moment. Charlie Haas is like, "Hey, John, good match." And John's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then Jackie's like, "Yeah, good match, John." And then John sees Jackie say this and he's like, "Oh, well, let me peruse this situation. Let me get into these shenanigans," says John. So he turns around, says, "Thanks, Dawn." Calls her Dawn. He doesn't even know who she is. This show is already a coffin on roller skates, and I love it. Cena goes over to Jackie, not Dawn, and I forget what exactly he says, but he's like, hey, yo, what's up, sister? You want to go below the belt? He said something about going below the belt, which is just like, hey, thanks, Jackie. you want to suck my cock later? Like, is that how it worked in 2004? Is that how it still works? I don't think so. Not in my experience. So Cena is like, yeah, thanks. And then he walks away. But then Kurt Angle, who I guess was around the corner for some reason, wheels in, which, to remind the audience, we're kind of fresh off as Kurt Angle getting thrown off a building onto concrete and breaking his leg due to the Big Show choke slamming him to oblivion. So Kurt is in his wheelchair. He's got his big cast on his leg. He's the general manager, by the way, if I didn't make that clear earlier. Mr. Angle wheels in, looks at Charlie Haas, because Charlie Haas was his boy, right? He brought him in. Team Angle, all that stuff. He was his protege. But Kurt Angle rolls in. He's like, Charlie, what's happened to you? You used to be something, and now you're just hobnobbing with John Cena, that guy that I hate. What's wrong with you? You know what? Because of that, because you were friendly to John Cena for a second, now you have a match. Thank God Charlie was in his wrestling gear. Kurt Angle says, you got a match with my man Luther Reigns. Luther Reigns, who has been... have I covered Luther Reigns on this podcast yet? I don't think so. I think this is his first pay-per-view match. Maybe only. I don't remember. But Charlie Haas is going to take on Luther Reigns. And he's going to take him on next. Again, thank God Charlie was prepared by being in his wrestling tights and his boots. So now that brings us to Charlie Haas, dude. Mixed locker rooms, I wouldn't doubt it. You're right, Scott. You're right. Were they co-ed? Was that the situation? But, dude, Charlie Haas versus Luther Reigns. And again, I kind of mentioned this earlier. Actually, I mentioned the opposite. Whenever I bring up Great American Bash 2004, or whenever I bring up just like pay-per-views in general and like Norfolk, because Norfolk, again, hasn't gotten one since the show over 20 years ago. And whenever it comes up in conversation, I'm like, yeah, Norfolk, Virginia. You know what we get? We get a SmackDown show every other year, and we get fucking Luther Reigns versus Charlie Haas on a pay-per-view. $50 at least to watch Charlie Haas versus Luther Reigns. What do you guys think this match was? I don't have a ton of notes on this one. Honestly, here's the thing, right? I think maybe we should step back for a second and take another look at this graphic here. So for those on audio, I'll explain it here. It's a graphic of the three matches: Luther Reigns versus Charlie Haas, Mordecai versus Hardcore Holly, Kenzo Suzuki versus Billy Gunn. And I could almost just talk about all of these matches at once because they're virtually the same thing. You got new guy that they're trying something with versus boring veteran. You got new guys with some sort of character that they're half-assed trying and ultimately going to give up on very quickly versus moderately jacked white guy with short hair and tights. Like, look at this here. Let me zone in on the veterans portion of this, right? Charlie Haas, Hardcore Holly, Billy Gunn. Each of these guys, again, have singles matches on this show against some new blood. Just look at these fucking three guys. Look at them. No. Look at them. If you're driving, listening to this, open up YouTube. Don't just hold the wheel. You're fine. Pull up your phone. Don't look at the road. It's there. All right? Don't bother. Open up your phone, pull up YouTube, and look at this graphic. Charlie Haas, Hardcore Holly, Billy Gunn. They're the same fucking guy. Again, just white guy, pretty jacked. They all have similar length in hair that ranges from bleach blonde to dirty blonde. Similar tans. Even the tights, they all have the same style of tights. The not super short tights, but like the biker short, I guess. Boy shorts, is that what they're called? They all get their gear from the same place. They all have the same dumb wrist tape. And here's the important part. They're all fucking boring. Dude. Like, there's no 3 guys, 0 characters. You got Charlie. Actually, you know what? Do I dial that back? Because they're kind of trying something with Charlie. Because he's tag teaming with Rico. But I feel like that's already starting to kind of fade away. So now you just got Charlie Haas, who, former member of World's Greatest Tag Team, guy that wrestles. That's who Charlie Haas is. You got Hardcore Holly, who 5-6 months ago was in a world title match on a pay-per-view. There were points where Hardcore Holly was red hot. There were some segments on SmackDown where the crowd was coming unglued for Bullet Bob Thurman Sparkplug wailing on Brock Lesnar with a chair. He had some momentum behind him. 6 months later, he's in a uber forgettable middle of the road match in a terrible pay-per-view. No heat, no reaction, no reason to care. You got Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn's a bit of he's got more to him, let's say. But not here, not in July of 2004. He's not an ass man. He's not a smoking gun. He's not even the one. He's not a new age outlaw. He's not cute Kip. He's just Billy Gunn. He's not even Billy Gunn. He's Monty Sop. Isn't that his real name? Monty Sop. I'm not going to look it up. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what we got here. That's why this show is heralded as one of the worst shows of all time, is because, look, you got these guys, you get the new guys, right? Let me pull up the new guys. Luther Reigns, Mordecai, Kenzo. Just visually, there's something there. Kip Sop, thank you, Scott. There's something there with these guys, right? Luther Reigns, look, he's just black tights. But he's got like a weird, unique face. It's like weirdly feminine, but he's got like this big, masculine, jacked body. There's something there. He's had peas before. Like there's something there. And he's a bodyguard. Like, whatever, he's a bodyguard. Doesn't need to be this layered dude. He's a bodyguard for Kurt Angle. Fuck him. You know, it's cool. He looks cool. Whatever. Then you got Mordecai. Look at him. Look at that. Look at this fucking guy. Look at the lighting. Look at the facial hair. You know, when I had Dante on when we talked about Judgment Day, he made up a good point. It's kind of an amalgamation of Brock Lesnar and Colonel Sanders. In fact, we're not totally sure this is not Brock Lesnar. Demon? I think the Pale Rider? I don't know what that means, but that's what they call him. He's White Undertaker, ultimately, is what it is. He's the light to Undertaker's dark. But there's something there. You could do a Taker Mordecai thing. It might be kind of interesting. Visually, he has a cool look. Kenzo Suzuki. Japanese. Need I say more? God, Kenzo fucking sucks. We're gonna get into that, but again, look, not a lot of Japanese fellers on the roster. He has his unique flavor, which just so happens to be soy sauce. But anyways, I digress. So I mention all of that preamble because that's why this show fails, is because you got, in all of those matches, those 3 matches, they're all the same. Babyface gets some fire in the beginning, heel slows him down, some sort of rest hold for like 5 minutes, and then they go to the finish. And I think all of the new guys win, I believe. From what I remember, just offhand, I think they all win. It's just a template. It's soulless. It's template, and that could all be forgiven if there was some good wrestling or some good characters, but there just wasn't. And look, we'll get into it. Charlie Haas versus Luther Reigns. Kurt Angle ringside, of course, because Luther, that's what he does. He wheels Kurt Angle to ringside. And now Kurt Angle's in his wheelchair, like, which is the best part of the match is when, Luther Reigns is beating on Charlie Haas. You got Kurt Angle, like, ha ha ha. Oh, he's so animated, like, ha ha, I love this. I love watching Charlie Haas get beat up. Like, he's such a cornball. What's up, Brocast? What's your favorite Luther Reigns match? Sound off in the comments. But we got, again, honestly, mechanically, not a bad match. Luther and Charlie, not a bad match from a technical standpoint. It's about as good as you can get with these two. Luther gets some slow, plodding offense, but it's like, whatever, he's a big, jacked asshole. You don't need to do much more than that. Charlie Haas gets some hope, hits a bridging German suplex for a 2 count. But then, now get ready for this sentence. Reigns hits a crossroads for the win. Luther Reigns' finisher it's a little different, but it's more or less a crossroads. So you got Reigns doing the crossroads, which is, very ahead of its time. So Luther Reigns gets the win. It actually does look pretty good. It's less, a crossroads has more like body spin, like the guy doing the move, you like spin into it. Whereas Luther Reigns just takes the guy's neck and just kind of cracks it. Looked pretty good. All credit to him. So Luther Reigns gets the win, but there's just no goddamn reason to care. Who cares? It'd be one thing if it was like this match, and then you had some like exciting, like you had like a tag team title match, and then like a explosive cruiserweight match, and then a hardcore match, and then some sort of soap opera-y match, and you had like different flavors to the show, but it's just this shit over and over again. But before that, we have a JBL promo backstage, and I didn't like take down notes on like what exactly he said. Ultimately, he's basically like, because he's facing Eddie Guerrero in a Texas Bull Rope match later in the night for the WWE title. If you remember, at Judgment Day, the previous pay-per-view for SmackDown, JBL and Eddie main evented that show. Eddie got DQ'd by hitting JBL with the title that JBL brought into the ring. So it was a DQ finish, but JBL is here. He's just classic heel shit. He's like, Eddie Guerrero was scared of me, so he got intentionally DQ'd. And that's why he's the champion and I'm not. But tonight, it's a Texas Bull Rope match. No rules, nowhere to hide. Quite literally, we're going to be tied together. But it's just this like delusion. Like the way JBL delivers words is unlike anyone else. He has his own thing. There's a lot of heels might fall into this thing of like, oh, I'm the best. I'm handsome. You can't beat me. And that's like the end of it. But JBL has so many layers, the American stuff, the Wall Street deal. Like it's just his delivery. There's nothing particularly striking about this promo. It was just so well delivered. I just wanted to shout out JBL because he's all-time guy on the mic. Never gets brought up in that conversation, but he's all-time. He's up there. Top 5, top 10. He's up there. Absolutely. I believe the words that he's saying. He has conviction behind what he's saying. He's not just memorizing lines to try to get a zany viral clip. He's like immersing himself in the character. He's not trying to get cheap heat. He's cultivating heat within his character, and it showcases itself in promos like this and in matches like we're going to see later. So after that, we got a shining star on this show, a silver lining on this show. We got the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. The champion, Rey Mysterio, versus Chavo Guerrero. Now, I believe when we last left you, I forget what the timeline exactly is. Chavo's dad, Chavo Sr., Chavo Classic, was the cruiserweight champion. But then Rey Mysterio beat him on SmackDown to win the title. And now Chavo Sr., I think he's out of there. And then Chavo Guerrero Jr. won a battle royal on SmackDown to become the number one contender for the title. That's essentially the backstory. Obviously, we have the history of their No Way Out 2004 match, which is probably the better of the two matches between that one and this one. But this one right here is still very good. I think it was a good match, right? Chavo, Rey Mysterio. You're not going to miss with these two. I mean, this is the best that Chavo Guerrero gets, is when he's facing Rey Mysterio. It was a fine match. You know what? It was a good match. It was better than fine. It was a good match. I think this show needed something more. Because it's Rey Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero. Most of this match is Chavo attacking the knee of Rey Mysterio. We got various submissions. We got post shots, little knee breakers. There's a stretch muffler in there at some point. Chavo hits these like leg kicks that send Rey Mysterio in like a 360 backflip. There's some kind of fun parts to it, but I feel like this match, most of it was very methodical and slower paced. Whereas I feel like we already got a lot of slow paced, methodical stuff on this show. This match, I think, needed to be more of a fireworks show than it ended up being. It picked up at the end, right? We got both guys are standing on the top rope. Double face buster off the top rope, the double down. We got the sick counter where Chavo counters a sunset flip. He floats over right into the gory bomb for a close 2 count. Fun spot there. We got Rey hitting an enziguri. Goes for the 619, but then Chavo catches him into a single leg crab. And here we get great drama here. He pulls him to the center. Rey crawls to the ropes. Almost gets there, and then Chavo pulls him in the center, sits down. Great shit. Like I forgot who won this match. I was like, shit, that's it. That kind of feels like the template, you know. In WWE, you have a guy in a submission. He almost gets to the ropes, gets pulled to the center, sits in deep, and then that's where the tap out happens. I was like, oh, Rey's gonna tap here. But then Rey fights out. He crawls. He's really animated. He claws on the mat, gets to the ropes, and saves himself. And then Chavo picks him up, goes for the gory bomb, but then Rey counters into a code red. It's like half a code red, half like a sunset flip, but whatever it is, gets him the win. So Rey Mysterio gets the win, ultimately retains the title. A great match psychology-wise, it was a great match. You know, Chavo attacking the knee, slowing him down. And there were some fun spots at the end, but I feel like maybe it's nitpicky. But I feel like this show needed something more than what this match gave us. Good match, though. I do want to emphasize that. This is a very good match. What's up, Juicy Steen? This ain't your dad's Great American Bash. Yeah, this is no Colonel, what's the fuck his name? Not Colonel Parker. What's his name? It was the two army guys fighting each other. Oh, I was gonna Colonel Pitbull, Craig Pittman. That's what you saw the smoke coming out of my ears. Hoovy versus this show needed some more Yeti. I agree. Great interview last night, by the way, Juice. But yeah, so Rey Mysterio gets the win in a good match, probably the second best match of this show. And then we go backstage to Tori Wilson in a hot tub. Thoughts? Hold on. Not just Tori Wilson. You got Tori, Billy Kidman, Spike Dudley, and Funaki. All in a hot tub backstage. Because I guess 4th of July, summer barbecue. I feel like a hot tub isn't like a summer thing. Am I crazy? It feels like a winter. It feels like a fall thing, you know? Maybe like a February, March thing, but not July. Who's getting in a hot tub in July? You gotta be some sort of asshole. It's already hot. You fuck. But whatever, they're trying to be thematic, which I can appreciate. Because Rey Mysterio retains his title, and Tori Wilson's like, wow, guys, can you believe that Rey Mysterio retained his title? And then all the other cruiserweights are like, oh, yeah, they're all pissed because they were all in the Battle Royal to become the number one contender to get a shot on the show. But then they're all bickering with each other. You cost me the match. You threw me out. You're Japanese. That's what they're saying, right? And then Tori Wilson's like, I've had enough. And then she stands up in her bikini, and everyone's like, woo, woo. Because it's 2004 and men are just paralyzed by the sight of a woman's legs, I guess. Did Billy Kidman and Tori date? Are they married? Is that a thing? Or did I just make that up? No, Stacy. No, it's Tori. It was Tori, right? No, I don't know. There should be cold tubs for the summer. Hey, cold pods exist, brother. Cold pods, they should have been in cold pods. Imagine Tori Wilson standing up out of a cold pod. Writes itself. It writes itself. But Tori Wilson leaves because she has a match to get ready for with Sable later in the show. So she leaves, and now it's just three dudes in a tub together. And I guess it leaves the rest is to your imagination on what happens between Billy Kidman, Funaki, and Spike Dudley. Fuck, kill, marry. Kill Spike Dudley, marry Funaki, fuck Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman just has that juicy, juicy ass, I feel like. And he probably implements that shooting star press in the bed. Somehow. Probably also almost paralyzes himself while doing it. So I'd be interested just for that. For those reasons alone. But, yeah. Agree, disagree, sound off in the comments. Well, now it's time. Now we're cooking. You thought we were cooking with Ray and Chavo. You thought we were cooking with Tori Wilson, but no. Now we are cooking with our boy. Hold on. Do I have a picture here? Hold on. Because I want to make sure we all kind of know what we're getting into here. Let's see here. Bang, bang, boom. Pull this up. How you doing? Holla, holla. No. Show me Kenzo Suzuki. Oh, I can't do that. Live, maybe? I don't know. Whatever. Kenzo Suzuki versus Billy Gunn is the matchup we got next. Once again, Kenzo Suzuki with Hiroko versus Billy Gunn. Not the one, not Mr. Ass, not smoking, just Billy Gunn. Now everyone's been asking me. You know, I've been doing the show for, over 5 years now. And every episode, I get all this fan mail, all these emails, all these tweets, all these touts. Hardest part of the ring. Yeah, you're talking all this stuff about, you know, all this sorts of wrestling. But the people want to know, what are your thoughts on Kenzo Suzuki? Well, the time has come, everybody. This guy fucking sucks. Dude. I'll pull this up, right? It's not just him. Here we go. Boom. The man on the right is Kenzo Suzuki, if you're in case you're confused. Where do we begin with this guy? First of all, visually, it's weird. Like, from his front, he looks kind of menacing. But from the side, here, I think I have to delete one of these, maybe, to bring him here. I'll remove this from studio. Boom, because we really need to get that side profile to really tell the story about this guy. And this one, I guess, really isn't a side profile, but I think this gives you a better representation of what he looks like in action. Look how fucking... I'm trying to understand, like, what his body type is. Because he's not a jacked guy. He's not super tall. He's maybe like, 6'2"? That's Googleable, right? What's your guys' guess? How tall is Kenzo Suzuki? I'm guessing 6'2". Is he going to be the Kenzo Suzuki that pops up, or is there a more prominent one? All right, Kenzo Suzuki. He is 6'3". Okay. Wow. He's actually shoot married to Hiroko. That's news. That's 6'7". Close, Juice. Close. But no cigar. This is not Kenzo Yete. This is not the Super Ninja or whatever. That's racist, Juice. That's pretty fucked up what you just said. Not 5'4", Scott. Although he looks like it. He has the presence of a guy that's 5'4". Sorry, I'm just kind of delving into his archive real quick. All right, he wrestled in All Japan from 2010 to 2019. And I guess he's done. I guess he wrestled in Dragon Gate for a little bit, a little Triple A, a little Lucha Libre from our boy Kenzo. It's crazy. He debuted in 2000. And then he got to WWE in 2004. That's like where he started. Which makes a lot of sense because he didn't have a lot of substance to him. Not a lot of seasoning. Not a lot of teriyaki. All right. See, this is, if I wasn't recording live, I'd probably cut that out. But, oh well. By the way, I'm just realizing now that I haven't been changing my banners. Why is nobody mentioning it? You guys are slacking. Billy Gunn versus Kenzo Suzuki. Visually, again, not super impressive, but that could be forgiven if his offense was impressive. Japanese, right? I'm talking from the mindset of WWE, right? Every guy that's Japanese knows martial arts. Like on Raw, every Gail Kim match, you got JR being like, "Oh, Gail Kim, she's a martial arts specialist." No, she fucking isn't. Oh man, but Kenzo, look, that's his thing, right? He comes out on like a throne. He's being carried by guys. He's got Hiroko next to him, who's like very stereotypical Japanese garb. You think Kenzo would get in there and be throwing these like boom kicks, fun offense, right? There's not a lot of Japanese fellers again in WWE other than Tajiri and Akio. I think he's still around somewhere. But we got Kenzo Suzuki, and again, not physically threatening, and his offense, like he's got these dumb like Ricky Steamboat chops, but not as good. You know what I mean? Like the hoo-ha. He's like Ming, but less cool. He's just a lot of moving his hands, but not a lot happening. That was honestly probably more than he actually does right there. What I just did. And he's got the nerve hold, as you can see here, just slapping it on. This is like 90% of the match right here is just having Billy Gunn in this goddamn nerve hold. Kenzo has this he puts the iron claw on him and then hits an STO, which kind of sounds cooler on paper than in execution, but yeah, I don't know, man. There's no story here, by the way, which also all of that could be forgiven, what I just mentioned, if there was some really cool backstory or some stakes or some characters that we could either root for or root against, but there is just nothing here. Nothing here. Another again, and this match falls into the formula that we saw with Luther and Charlie. Billy gets some offense in the beginning, but then old Kenzo slaps on this nerve hold. And we wait until we just waste time until it comes time to finish. That's the 2004 WWE template, and by golly, we're gonna stick to it. And also Kenzo, he's very clearly influenced by Great Muta. He's throwing out Shining Wizards. He has this the Muta elbow where he kind of frantically hits the ropes and then does a pendulum swing into the elbow. Kenzo does a shitty version of that, but a knee drop instead. But ultimately, Suzuki wins with a ridge hand to the penis, followed by a reverse DDT backbreaker. Now, any of my Hiroki Goto, right? Yeah, Hiroki Goto. His finisher, the GTR, that's pretty much what Kenzo is doing here, but it's a shitty version of it. just a less impactful version. It's a reverse DDT, but instead of slamming him into the mat, you slam him into your knee, which again, sounds effective, didn't look effective here. Needs a better finisher, but whatever. Among the other things that we mentioned. So Kenzo gets the win here, which cool, fine. New character, beats the veteran, but here's the problem. We don't fucking care about Billy Gunn in 2004. Just like we didn't care about fucking Charlie Haas, just like we don't care about Hardcore Holly, which we're about to talk about. Again, not to keep rehashing it, but just nothing here. They didn't put forth a lot of effort into Kenzo. They just threw a few squash matches at him on SmackDown, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to care about him versus Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, who just came back from injury and hasn't really had any storylines since his deal with Jamie Noble, and they ended up having a foursome with Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie. Go back and check out the Vengeance 2003 episode if you want some substance to Billy Gunn. But none to be found here. Let's go to the chat here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, by the way. Always appreciate the love. Looking like a Mark chimes in, says SmackDown needed tag teams. After breaking up the APA and World's Greatest Tag Team post WrestleMania 20, Tajiri should have stayed on SmackDown and Kenzo should have debuted as his new tag team partner. Marcus, I love you. Great idea. Great idea. And that was something I was going to mention earlier. Like, if WWE was so hell-bent on getting a Japanese guy over, you got fucking Tajiri just collecting dust on Raw, getting beat by Jonathan Coachman on pay-per-views. Tajiri, while smaller than Kenzo, not by a lot, by the way, smaller than Kenzo, he's way more threatening. Tajiri's kicks, you got the mist, the tarantula, the kicks. I know I said kicks before, but Tajiri has maybe the best kicks in wrestling history. The crowd is accustomed to him. Hell, his henchmen with Akio and Sakota, I believe his name was, that whole like Yakuza kind of feel to that stable, that could have been something, but they just gave up on it inexplicably and just turned Tajiri babyface again, threw him on Raw. Now he's not doing anything. Akio's doing bullshit on Velocity, and then Sakota, who knows where he went off. Tajiri could have been Kenzo here. Commit to Tajiri as a heel. That could have worked. Or, like Mark said, Tajiri and Kenzo as a tag team. You have Kenzo as like the prodigy, the powerhouse of the tag team. It's like kind of like a Diesel and Shawn deal, maybe. Less extreme, but you know what I mean. With Akio as the manager, like that whole package could have worked. And then throw Akio and Sakota in there. Have like a 5-person faction of Japanese, of people from the Orient, as Mike Tenay loved to say. That could have been cool, but instead we just got dumb Kenzo and his dumb Iron Claw and his dumb Nerve Hold with his shitty little backbreaker for the win on Billy Gunn. There was potential there. Juicy Sting from the Juice Box podcast. Go watch some Yoshi Kwan matches for your next stream. I'm busy that day, sorry. Piper's best friend, Luther Reigns. Is that true? Is that why Luther's here? I'm not going to look it up. That's canon in my head. That makes sense to me. Scott George. Was Billy still Mr. Asshole at this time? So he was coming out to Mr. Ass, the song. But that was pretty much it. I mean, he had the tights, I guess, but there was nothing to it. Look at my ass. Look at how nice my ass is. You already got Rikishi on the fucking roster. The ass market has been cornered by Rikishi. So it's probably why it never worked. It's probably why it didn't work after his King of the Ring win in 1999 also. So Juice, remember from the Build to Uncensored 97 where Pipe... Oh my fucking God. I forgot. You're so right, Juice. Thank you. Thank you for setting me straight. I forgot. I think we covered this on the podcast. I don't quite remember. Just going back real quick to 1997, WCW Uncensored. Roddy Piper had, it's like a notorious segment on Nitro where he's having this like tryout because he needs 2 partners for a pay-per-view match for a 6-man tag. So he has all these random jamokes come out. There's like a boxer, there's a karate guy, and one of these guys ends up being Luther Reigns in 1997, looking pretty much the same here, but just happened. I think he's wearing like Daisy Dukes for some reason and combat boots. I mean, he was made for the Village People, this Luther Reigns. But God, the Luther Reigns lore runs so deep. Might be worth a retrospective episode just talking about Luther Reigns specifically, because I think there's a lot to delve into. Oh, yeah. It's uncensored, Tony. You're so right. Juice. Booking Like a Mark chimes in once again, says, with the amount of random mid-carders on the roster, including Hardcore Holly, would the Hardcore Championship helped on this show as a through line connecting all of the random matches? I mean, sure, it would not have hurt. Like, it would have taken away from the monotone kind of nature of this show. It would have added some flavor, some ebbs and flows, some peaks and valleys. It would have added something else, another texture to this show other than just bullshit singles matches one after the other. A hardcore title could have done wonders. Or like you mentioned, they could have put forth any effort into developing tag teams. Have a tag team match on this show. I mean, it could have been like Kenzo and Tajiri versus Rico and Charlie Haas. Like a lot of the same elements from this show, but just put into a package that feels like it just adds to the momentum of the show. It adds to the kind of the yin and the yang, so to speak, not just because they're Japanese. But yeah, I think a hardcore title. I think a better way about it would just to cultivate a better tag team division, pair up some of these mid-carders, make them tag teams, and not just like fluky one-off tag teams like they did with Hardcore Holly and Billy Gunn, which probably a lot of people don't even remember. Give them tag team names. Make them wear matching tights. Give them a valet of some sort. But no, we'll just have a couple singles matches together, I guess. Paul Heyman backstage in a dark room with Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer has his wrists tied to a chair and he's ball gagged. I don't know if it's a ball. He's gagged. Oh yeah, Paul Bearer is. And you might be asking, hardest part of the ring, what the dickens? Why the heck is Paul Bearer in a dark room backstage tied to a chair and gagged with Paul Heyman there? Well, we'll touch on it more in a little bit, but essentially, Paul Heyman, excuse me, a lot of Pauls floating around. Paul Heyman was upset with the Dudleys. He looked at the Dudleys and he was like, you guys are resting on your laurels. You guys used to be something. You used to be extreme. You used to be controversial. Now you're just guys. By the way, the Dudleys are another team that could have been in the tag team title picture, but I digress. You guys could have been something. You need to show me something. You need to show me that those old Dudleys are in there somewhere. Cause some chaos. So what do Bubba and Devon do? What any functioning person would do. They abducted Paul Bearer, threw him in a trunk, sped away, and did God knows what with him. But Paul Bearer drops his urn. Paul Heyman recovers the urn. Now, I guess, de facto, Paul Heyman now controls The Undertaker because he has possession of this urn. Also, for a few other reasons, which we'll get to in the main event. Dudley's versus Undertaker, which is a real main event of a pay-per-view. The Dudley Boys versus The Undertaker. No titles. just a life on the line. Main event of a pay-per-view. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. What do we got next, guys? What do we got next? Just a couple of Jags. You're right, Scott George. And we got just a couple of Jags up next. We got... Let me update the banner. Boom! Sable versus Tori Wilson. All reliable, some may say. Again, and another reason this show kind of shat the bed a little bit, and I've kind of touched on it a little bit, there's not a lot of story coming into it. A lot of these matches feel very random. This feels like a 2025 Ring of Honor pay-per-view. It's like, oh shit, there's a pay-per-view this Sunday. Let's generate some bullshit reasons to have people face each other. Sable and Tori Wilson, yes, they had conflict in the past, but in the past year or so, they've been pretty buddy-buddy because they were on the Playboy cover together. Like, there was this whole thing. They teamed together at WrestleMania. They've been doing photo shoots and specials and magazines. Sable and Tori, they've just kind of been in the background, just enjoying each other's bodies. You know what I mean? But now, all of a sudden, Sable hates Tori because Tori was put on the poster of Great American Bash and not Sable. Which, sure, I mean, women... I could think of a few lesser reasons that women have turned on each other. It's just what they do. Am I right? Am I wrong, fellas? You okay? But now, that's why we have this match. Sable versus Tori. Just catty women being catty. Now, do I have a picture of Tori on deck? I don't. But you know what Tori Wilson looks like, right? Just picture Tori Wilson in a red, white, and blue, like, bikini. Not bikini, but, like the wrestling gear, right? Classic stuff, right? It's a Great American Bash. She's the spokesperson for the event. She opened the shows like, everybody welcome to Great American Bash. She's been in the hot tub backstage. She's Miss America here. And then Sable comes out looking like this. Oh, that's Kenzo. Kenzo, get the fuck off of here. How do I remove you? All right, here we go. That's Sable. Now, honestly, I couldn't find a full body picture of her. I could have screenshotted it, but I didn't want to. But you get the idea here of her attire for this match. Nothing remotely patriotic about what she's wearing. It's like a singlet, I guess. I'll describe it this way. It's a hooded singlet, but the hood is furry. Colors? Not red, white, and blue, just black and red. Sable. Rena. This is why you're not the spokesperson for Great American Bash. This is why you're not on the poster. Because look at you. You're not representing the show. You want to prove that you should have been the spokesperson? How about you throw on some red, white, and blue, huh? Put on a hat. Come at the fireworks. Hot dog. Something. But no. Just Sable. Sable was old news during this time, says Scott George. Man, catching strays, this Sable. That's not even a stray. That's just a straight shot. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh boy. Well, this match was not good. Tori Wilson versus Sable. Look, they've had some fun little dust-ups in the past, right? Neither Tori nor Sable have ever been known for their in-ring prowess, and to be fair to them, like, they didn't need to have that. There was a recent interview with Tori Wilson. It was like on one of like the post shows of a pay-per-view or something. I think it was Evolution, where she said that she wishes that she had a performance center. She wishes she had an NXT. Because in this era, especially on SmackDown, where there's no women's title, it's like, what is her role? What is Sable's role? Are they wrestlers? Are they valets? Are they just eye candy? Are they holding up scorecards? Like, what are they doing? So they have no reason to really commit to, like, improving their craft in the ring. In this match here, Sable versus Tori Wilson, they, like, tried to have a wrestling match. which is crazy to say, but like Sable and Tori, that screams cat fight to me. That screams, let me yank on your hair, let me pull off your top, let me slap your ass. Like, the fact that this match didn't take place in a pool of pudding is mind-boggling to me. They just went in there and just had a wrestling match. And good on them. Good on them for trying. Trying being the operative word. You got Sable doing like a crisscross kind of choke, rest hold in the center of the ring. Tori Wilson tries a float over suplex that feels a little clunky. And at some point, Tori's making her comeback. And by the way, I can't emphasize this enough. There is no noise happening in this arena. Dead quiet. For pretty much since Ray pinned Chavo, there's no noise happening. Michael Cole and Taz are trying to pop themselves on commentary. They're talking about what they're wearing. They're talking about their hair color. Like, is Charles Robinson more attractive than these two? Like, they're just, having a good old time over there. They know how shit this is. Tori and Sable, they clunk heads, double down. But Sable doesn't get back up. Tori does, but Sable does not. She's holding her head. Oh, I'm concussed. Oh, my neck's broken. Ref, check on me. So Charles Robinson gets down. He's checking on Sable, giving her mouth to mouth. You know the whole deal. Tori Wilson, just dumbly, like she's not looking at Sable. She's not like distraught, like looking at the timekeeper or medical or commentary or the referee. She's just facing Hart. This is what she's doing. Like, deer in the headlights, just like, what the heck is going on here? Is Sable actually injured? But Bob's your uncle. Sable is playing possum. Gets up, rolls up Tori Wilson for the 1, 2, 3. And I really wish I would have screenshotted this roll up, because maybe I'll add it after the fact. Brother, I've never seen shoulders less on the mat. I mean, it's a schoolboy roll up. Sable rolls up Tori, and the front of Tori's shoulders are closer to the mat than the back, like in the opposite direction. Like, that's how far up Tori's shoulders are. Not even close to a pin. But the referee's like, whatever, this is over. We're done. Thankfully, it's over. Fuck it. Who cares? So I guess Sable gets the win, and then I think they both disappear from TV for a while. So, but women, bikinis, America, you know what I mean? So that's all this match served. So, oh man. But backstage, cuts from that to Undertaker in a dark hallway. Do we think Undertaker just spends this entire show just like pacing in dark hallways? I would think so, right? I agree, Scott George. Vince already got himself off in Gorilla. That's a wild sentence, by the way, if you're not a wrestling fan. What, he just jack off a gorilla? Just make a monkey come? Imagine somebody turns the show on. That's the first thing they hear. But no monkeys coming here, because the next match, we got Hardcore Holly. You know what? Maybe we do have monkeys coming. Hardcore Holly versus Mordecai. Hardcore Holly versus Mordecai. No, Sable, get the fuck off my screen. Hardcore Holly versus, keep saying it. Maybe one of these days it'll sound good off the tongue. No. The middle portion of your screen here is the match we got. Actually, do I have, hold on, let me take off here. Bing, take you off. Bing, bang, boom. Doing it off the fly. Download image. Do I have a picture of this match on my hard drive for whatever reason? I don't think I do. What the I am really just screwing the pooch here. Why don't I have this at the ready? I'm learning. But whatever. Hardcore Holly At this point, the show just feels grueling. I mean, Charlie Haas versus Luther Reigns, Kenzo Suzuki versus Billy Gunn. You have Sable and Tori Wilson stinking up the joint. You got weird hot tub segments. You got, I mean, the weird four-way in the beginning. You got some good stuff with Ray and Chavo, but ultimately this show is just dead. I mean, it is just off a cliff. The energy is just zapped from the arena, from the Scope Arena. I am there live witnessing all of this, by the way. Let's not forget that. I am just a stone's throw away from all of this debauchery. I got to see Mordecai live. Have you? Huh? Not a lot of people could say that. So that's something. That's something to consider. But again, there's not a lot to this match. And I'll say this. This might be the last Mordecai match. In fact, do I dare say we look this up? Mordecai, I mean, his cage match has just got to be a disaster. All right, Kevin Thorne, sure. Kevin Ferdig. Career, let's see here. All right, he's still going at it, by the way, for some reason. 2004 WWE. What do we got? So, no, okay, so he has 2 more matches after this. Him and Hardcore Holly have a rematch on a house show for whatever reason. Almost to the second, the same amount of... By the way, this match on pay-per-view, Mordecai versus Hardcore Holly, 6 minutes, 29 seconds. Great use of time. Great use of time. They don't even bother dedicating a lot, let's not try to create a story within the match. Let's not try to have climaxes and crescendos and decrescendos. Let's just have you guys get in the ring, throw some punches, rest hold for 5 minutes, and go to the finish. Just like every fucking other match. Dude. But Mordecai has one more match. One more match on TV. The next week against Rey Mysterio, in which he loses. And I believe that's because he comes into Great American Bash undefeated. That's his whole thing. So did Kenzo, so did Luther Reigns. Again, all the same thing. And Mordecai doesn't even come out with his jacket or anything. It's like so clear that they've given up on this dude. And it's evident given that he's off TV after this week. I don't know, man. He doesn't have the hood. He doesn't have the presence. He does have his dumb little staff. He's got some pyro, but nothing. He might know the writings on the wall at this point. Mordecai did better with his real estate career. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't doubt you, Scott. But, and Mordecai is kind of similar to Kenzo in a way, because they're not... he's kind of a big dude. That's everybody's favorite game. How tall is Mordecai? I'm going to guess 6'4". I'm going to guess 6'4", everybody. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? He is... Oh, not... Okay. News to me, if you just type in Mordecai into Google, it's not Kevin Thorne that pops up. He's not the number one search. He's 6'3". Oh, so him and Kenzo are the same height. Interesting. So again, not a 270, like a decently above average in terms of size. It's moderately jacked. Not crazy, We got fucking Batista on the other show. We compare him to Mordecai. He's not physically super threatening. Again, similar to Kenzo, his offense isn't really scintillating. It's not like fun. It's not interesting. It's just a lot of punches and kicks, and then a cross powerbomb for the win. There's no substance there, man. I feel like I'm rehashing this, but you might be listening and be like, "Oh, Kyle, you're saying the same thing over and over again." Well, that is the experience of watching Great American Bash 2004. It is just rehash, different, same thing with a different hat, same thing with a different hat. Brutal. The story, there's no story. Again, he just randomly attacked Hardcore Holly on SmackDown 3 days ago, and now we have this match. Kind of a hot start. They fight to the outside. Mordecai throws Hardcore Holly into his staff. Pause. Because he has a staff. He has like the Vader style. Like he puts it in the thing, and it just sits there upright, erect for the entire match. And then Mordecai throws Hardcore Holly into it. It's so clearly like some plastic bullshit. It just like bends and flops. But that was pretty much the only highlight of this match. Hardcore, remarkably. And then this goes to show that what I'm saying is not just what I'm saying. This is how the crowd felt, by which I was included. There's a point in this match where Hardcore Holly is making a comeback. Top rope, clothesline. And you would expect, like, all right, the babyface is coming back. Big top rope move. Oh, man, crowd is getting into it, baby. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the case, because he hits this top rope clothesline, and all you hear is a smattering of boos. That is how not over Hardcore Holly is. That is how not over Mordecai is. That is how dog shit this mid-card division is that Hardcore Holly does a high-impact top rope flying move, and the crowd is just like, well, fuck, dude. Oh, God, enough. That's crazy reaction. And I might have been one of them. You might have heard my little boo in the background. But yeah, whatever. Mordecai wins with a cross powerbomb because he's religious, so he does a cross powerbomb naturally. And a random thought that I had watching, not a random thought, it was kind of, very in line with my podcast, like, that we're in 2004. Mind you, the Ring of Honor timeline that I cover I've covered through this period, so there's a lot of overlap here. I've also covered TNA in 2004. This show is making it abundantly clear why those companies exploded during this time. Ring of Honor, TNA. This is the period of time where those companies start to gain a lot of traction. And not only is it because of the stuff they were doing, because Ring of Honor, TNA, they were putting on some quality stuff. But my goodness, people were desperate for an alternative. And this show is a perfect representation of why. Insane, dude. Insane. But that being said, I say all that, but now let's transition into an all-time great match. The WWE Championship on the line. Texas Bull Rope match. The champion, Eddie Guerrero, versus JBL. Think about that for a second while I suck on this sweet nectar. Finally, some delicious fucking food. Dude. This feud, I'm gonna talk about it, and I'll just talk about it now. JBL and Eddie Guerrero, right? Everybody talks about the Judgment Day match, the crazy blade job that Eddie did, but again, we talked about it recently on the podcast. Go check out Judgment Day 04. A fantastic match for a variety of reasons. There's heat, there's characters that you can identify with. There's a great antagonist. Just good chemistry between these guys. Just great shit. And then in my head, before watching this again, in my head it was like, oh yeah, JBL and Eddie had a good match at Judgment Day, but their Great American Bash match, I was like, whatever. No, dude, this Great American Bash Bull Rope match might be better than their Judgment Day match. So fucking good. I encourage everybody to go rewatch this match or watch it for the first time if you've never seen it. So good. And we'll talk about why. This is the first match where there's actually meat on the bone of what happens in the match. And speaking of meat on the bone, the feud. has a lot of meat on the bone. We talked about Judgment Day earlier, how Eddie got DQ'd and it was a non-finish, but Eddie kind of came out on top in a lot of ways, but then JBL is claiming that he had him beat and that Eddie cheated to get himself DQ'd and to run away with his title. And JBL caused Eddie's mom to have a heart attack, and then Eddie stole JBL's limo and with JBL in it, and then like joyrided around and knocked him out in the limo and destroyed his limo. It's right, Scott. I mean, Eddie needed a blood transfusion after Judgment Day. There's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, the Great American Bash, the undertones with Eddie Guerrero, Mexican American, holding this title, representing it proudly, representing his country proudly. You have JBL with this really sketchy, he's not a racist, but like, is he though? Is his character? He's kicking people across the border. There's a lot of like interesting stuff here. Like, there's a lot of substance to this. Some stuff doesn't age particularly well, but there's substance to it. It's great TV. It's a great story. But let's get into the match. First of all, let me bring this up first. Because actually, I'll just bring this. It's kind of a collage of this match here. Bottom left here, you see the green light, red light deal here. We have that in this match. It's a Texas bull rope match, and bull rope matches, they vary in their rules. Sometimes it's just a pinfall submission deal, but you happen to be linked by a rope. This one, you have to touch all four corners to get the win, and it has to be in one continuous kind of deal, right? If your momentum is stopped, then the lights turn off and you have to start over. A lot of people think Drew McIntyre and CM Punk invented this. Nay, 20 years before, they were doing it. So just for those thinking like, oh, why is WWE all of a sudden bringing in these lights? They never did it in the past. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But again, let's get into this match here. So both guys, they're attached to the ropes, as you can see here, by their wrist. And Eddie gets the advantage early, using the rope to Beal JBL. He's wrapping it around his throat, throwing him across the ring. The match kind of had me nervous in the beginning because they made it very clear when laying out the rules that if you intentionally take off the rope, you're disqualified. And like 20 seconds into the match, the rope falls off of Eddie's wrist. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Going off the rails, but I think they eventually figured it out, tied it a little tighter or whatever. Eddie makes a comeback, after JBL gets the advantage, because Eddie, he starts out hot, touches two of the lights, but then JBL stops his momentum, pulls him back in, then the lights get turned off. Eddie starts making his comeback, touches two of the lights again, but again, JBL stops his momentum by just pulling him in for a short arm lariat. And that's kind of the story here, is that allegedly this is JBL's specialty. If those are familiar with Justin Hawk Bradshaw from his 96, 97 days, would always come out with a bull rope because he wanted to be Stan Hansen so damn bad. He still does. Never really took off, but apparently, because he's from Texas also, he theoretically has the advantage in this bull rope match, but also begs the question, or begs the thought, Eddie Guerrero, also from Texas, so like, he also knows how to use a bull rope, if that's the criteria. And that's why you see Eddie getting the advantage here with the Beal, wrapping it around the throat. But JBL apparently has, and that's really the running story throughout this match, is that JBL has the expertise in this match. Because when Eddie is like kind of running around, touching the corners, JBL will like lay down and wrap his feet around the bottom rope to prevent Eddie from moving any farther. Also, just his bigger size lends to be an advantage as well. So it works well as a heel. Like, he has all the advantages going for him with the experience in these matches, the size. He has everything going for him. JBL, he does a hangman, like, you know, he wraps the rope around Eddie's neck and then just like pulls him like a gory stretch type of deal, which is like chokes him with it. Then he puts Eddie in a tree of woe in the corner and then wraps the rope around his neck and pulls him back into the post. Some pretty unique stuff here. Very Savio Vega-esque, this match was. Both guys making great use of the rope. They're fighting on the outside. They're on the announce table, both on top of it. JBL goes to powerbomb Eddie through the announce table, but Eddie pretty much hog ties him with the rope and trips him up to prevent the powerbomb. So we're both using it offensively and defensively. They're getting very creative with this. Like that a lot. JBL fights back, though, throws Eddie over the announce table, and we get a little callback to their Judgment Day match. If you remember that sickening chair shot that JBL gave to Eddie that busted him open, we get pretty much the same thing here. Eddie gets thrown over the announce table. JBL goes to grab him. Eddie has a chair, rears back, smashes JBL in the fucking head with this steel chair. Not quite as sickening as the Judgment Day chair shot, but still a pretty brutal chair shot. That is one of my few memories I have of this show, is how loud that fucking chair shot was, dude. That was crazy. Eddie throws JBL in the ring, in the middle of the ring, hits him with another big chair shot, and that's like the chair is kind of the centerpiece of the feud in a lot of ways, so I like that kind of representation of the story. Knocks JBL out with the chair, touches one corner, touches two corners, touches three corners, going for that fourth corner, but just can't. You could see in the top right that picture of Eddie reaching for that fourth corner, but JBL is just too big, too strong, not letting him touch it. There's a ton of great drama in this. It's a kind of a goofy stipulation, but I think it makes for a lot of great drama when there's stakes involved, especially with how beloved Eddie was at this point and how hated JBL was. Just great. I mean, he's just fingertips away from winning, but just can't. So good. Eddie, you know, he knocks out JBL. His momentum stopped. All of his lights get turned off. Eddie beats on JBL, hits the three amigos, tries to touch the corners again. But this time, because Eddie's learning, right? And that's another part of the story. That's why Eddie's so fucking good. He's learning as the match progresses on how to win this match. So now he's not just going to give JBL all the slack in the rope. Now he's going to wrap the rope around JBL's neck, you know, increasing the tension, increasing the leverage. Eddie pulls JBL 1, 2, 3. But before he can get to the fourth one, JBL just, it's so desperate too. JBL, by the way, also so good. You can sense the desperation. He just lunges his body at the ropes, wraps his whole arms and legs around it to stop Eddie from touching that fourth one. Again, just really great drama here at the ending stretch. JBL fights back. He gets the advantage, touches two of the corners, and Eddie realizes he can't rely on strength. Because JBL can just brute force, just like pull him back. Eddie can't do that, being the smaller guy. So Eddie has to use craftiness. So to prevent JBL from touching the rest of the corners, he baseball slides under JBL with the rope attached, by the way, and then like whips the rope up and crotches John, and then he does a front flip. Like, just, these are all probably really stereotypical like strap match tropes, but they're just done so well here. Eddie hits the three amigos, but then JBL, again, we're just finding new ways to prevent each guy from touching all the lights. JBL rolls to the outside on the floor because the rope's not long enough, so Eddie can't touch all four corners with JBL lying out there. So Eddie goes out to get him, and he tries to use the rope as like a pulley, like over the top rope to pull JBL in the ring. Pulls him up to the apron, wraps it around his neck, gets up, kind of climbs to the second rope to try to pull him over. But then JBL wraps the rope around Eddie's throat, beals him off the top rope, through the announce table. Crazy spot. Crazy spot. Table doesn't break, by the way. So JBL, being the pro that he is, goes out there, picks Eddie up, powerbomb through the table. Table breaks. Table breaks. So we got both guys back in the ring eventually. Both are beaten. JBL is just gushing blood. Eddie's just been thrown through this table twice. Both guys are beaten. Middle of the ring. Both guys eventually, I think it's Eddie that eventually gets the advantage. He's touching the ropes, or he's touching the corners. But then JBL's behind him, touching the corners behind him. So eventually we have a situation where both guys have 3 corners touched. And we're fighting for that 4th one. Whoever touches that 4th corner wins. The epitome of drama. I'll say it again. It's just so good. So good. Eddie's about to touch it. JBL pulls him back in. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. JBL's about to touch it. Eddie's trying to pull him back in. It's a tug of war situation. He's fighting for his championship. He's literally 2 inches away from losing it. JBL's in the corner. He's about to touch it. Eddie pulls him in. Eddie charges the corner, leaps over JBL, touches the 4th corner. Eddie Guerrero wins. Eddie Guerrero retains his WWE championship. Good news, everybody. Eddie retains. Or does he? Because as Eddie is celebrating, you hear Kurt Angle's voice. Eddie, hold on, Eddie. Because Kurt and Eddie, they haven't gotten along. Obviously, the WrestleMania match and all that stuff. Like, there's bad blood there. But Kurt Angle's assuring us that he's not here to cash in on a vendetta. He's not here for personal reasons. He's out here, Kurt Angle is, to make sure the right thing is done. The general manager of SmackDown, Mr. Angle, he's just here to assure that the right decision was made. So we review the tape of the finish of this match. When Eddie leaps over JBL to touch the corner, JBL's shoulder touches the corner before Eddie's hand does. Therefore, your winner and new WWE champion, John Bradshaw Layfield. Look at this picture, man. Look at this picture. JBL gushing blood. Got the bull rope over one shoulder. His other arm holding up the WWE Championship. Fucking Bradshaw from the APA is the WWE Champion. Can we just sit back and realize how crazy that is? This guy was in a undercard Who Gives a Fuck tag team match 3 months ago. Now he's the WWE champion. But, in my opinion, much deserved. Much deserved. Such a good character. I talked about his promo earlier. He's so convincing. Big dude. Unique character. And honestly, I don't have super fond memories of this kind of reign of terror. But I feel like my palate is more sophisticated nowadays. And I'm looking forward to living through this title reign of JBL. Maybe I'll regret it. Maybe I'll come back in a few months being like, oh, hold on, folks, never mind. But, my goodness. What a match. I mean, again, if there's one match that you go back and watch after listening to this, JBL versus Eddie Guerrero. Texas Bull Rope match. I mean, the crowd, it sucked the energy out of the crowd. But maybe, I mean, whatever energy we had. But that's a heel, man. Eddie was beloved. JBL was hated. That's the mark of a great heel. Kind of a bullshit way to win it, but that adds to it. So, and just because Eddie thought he had won, Kurt Angle comes back, reverses the decision, and then you just have this shot of Eddie on his knees holding the WWE title. The referee has to rip it away from his hands it to JBL, bloody, beaten. Just the imagery was great. The match was great. There was intensity. There was intent. There was drama. There was creativity. Great feud as a foundation of everything. By far the match of the night. I dare say this is in contention for WWE Match of the Year. No, I don't think there's a huge pool of matches that would be in contention, but I'll throw this one in there. Fantastic match. Fantastic match. But that's the last fantastic match of the show. Because you know what we got next, folks. You know what we got next. Let me update this banner. Read that. Read that. If you're on YouTube, you can read it. It is a concrete crypt 2-on-1 handicap match. The Undertaker versus the Dudley Boys. It's a lot of information. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in all at once. Let's talk about the lead up to this match. We talked about it a little bit earlier. HJK, which match do you give the HJs to? All the HJs go to Eddie and JBL. Absolutely. No HJs to Undertaker versus Dudley Boys, because the lead up to this match, the backstory, again, we talked about it, how Heyman, he was claiming the Dudleys had lost their edge. So the Dudleys abducted Paul Bearer. Paul Heyman comes into, he grabs the urn of Paul Bearer. So now he controls the Undertaker, I guess. And I guess Heyman's ultimate goal is for him, Undertaker, and the Dudley Boys to be one big happy stable. But the Undertaker wants no part of this. He's not going to be bullied into it. But maybe, just maybe, he could be convinced if we threaten to kill his manager. Like, how do you... Is that why nothing else on this show had any story to it other than JBL Eddie? Is that why there was so much nonsense in the middle? Is this because every bit of energy was put into this horse shit? Let me just set the scene for you here. Do I have a picture here? Not here. We'll just throw this here, right? Paul Bearer. So this is like, later in the match, but they have Paul Bearer sitting in this glass box, this allegedly impenetrable, bulletproof glass box that nobody can break into and nobody can break out of. It's an empty box at the beginning. Paul's sitting there tied to this chair. And next to this box is a cement truck with a lever on it. And when that lever is pulled, cement gets dumped into this box, slowly burying Paul Bearer alive with cement. And Paul Heyman controls the lever. If Undertaker doesn't do what he wants, he pulls the lever, cement begins to fill the box until Undertaker does what Heyman wants, and then he'll stop. But you have this constant threat of, I'm going to do it. Oh, it's slowly filling. We'll talk about it, but that's kind of the premise here, what this match is. And the whole thing is, Paul Heyman wants Undertaker to, quote, do the right thing. It's never said what this right thing is. Even at the start of the match, Dudley's come out. Undertaker comes out. What is the right thing? Apparently, the right thing is for Undertaker to lay down and let the Dudley Boys beat him on pay-per-view. Is that such a dire necessity? Like, it just doesn't match. Like, I'm going to kill your friend if you don't let Bubba Ray Dudley get the win here on a show. I'm like, what? More so, why doesn't Undertaker just fucking lay down and take a loss? Save your friend, you cocksucker. Well, you don't want an L on the scoreboard or in the scorebook? You don't want to lose your winner's purse? Is it going to drop you down the rankings? Is it going to bring you from number 2 to number 5 if you lose in the main event of a pay-per-view? Just lay down, you piece of shit. Save your friend. Hold on. Bartholomew, pull it up. Look at this man. Look at how distressed Paul Bearer is. You don't want to save him? This Undertaker, he's so selfish. So selfish. And I guess, honestly, guys, there's nothing to this match. Bell to bell, there's nothing to it. It's all the beginning and the end. We kind of laid the backstory there. Paul Heyman's on the mic by the cement truck. He says, "Do the right thing, Undertaker, and lay down." Undertaker begrudgingly gets to one knee, slowly, then lays on his back. And then Bubba, which in hindsight, maybe Bubba shouldn't have done this. Bubba straddles them, I guess. Stands over Undertaker. Says, "I've been waiting this for a very long time. I've been waiting for this for my entire life." And then Undertaker throws his hand up, goozles him. Devon comes in, goozles him, double goozle. Paul Heyman doesn't like this. Paul E. Dangerously does not like this. He says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, Undertaker, that is not the right thing." So he begins and he pulls the lever. Kronk. He pulls the lever. Cement begins to slowly fill the box with Paul Bearer in it. Gets up to about shin height. And then Undertaker stops. He lets go of the Dudleys. Paul Heyman pulls the lever up, stops the flow. But now the Dudleys have the advantage because Undertaker was distracted by watching his friend slowly drown. So now the Dudleys take advantage and we're off to the races. And then nothing happens for a while. And then Undertaker hits a tombstone on the Devon for the win. There is some fun parts of this match where like Undertaker's going for old school. And then as he's like on the top rope, Paul Heyman literally, this is his words. I'm not just like adding my spice to it. Paul Heyman's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, bad dog, bad dog." That's a bad Undertaker. And then Paul Heyman pulls the lever again. And the concrete reaches like chest level to Paul Bearer. So Undertaker finally stops. He relents. And then the Dudleys attack from behind again, just like before. It's just like that over and over again. And my question is like, what is the end game here for Paul Heyman? Like, there's no way we're going to have a big happy stable with this happening. Is he just being a dick? Maybe. Maybe Paul Heyman is threatened by another Paul walking around. Another manager named Paul wearing a suit. Can't have two of those. You know, I said that as a joke, but I wonder if Vince McMahon is like, "Well, God, there's a Paul here, a Paul here. Both are portly. The audience is going to get confused. We have to kill one of them off." I'm like, not even joking when I say that. That's probably what happened. Thoughts? I think so. Oh, man. Well, what happens here? So, Taker at some point... By the way, here's another thing about this match, right? And I'll pull this up. Nope, not you. Paul Bearer, get off my fucking screen. Let me pull this up here. Undertaker dominating the Dudleys at once. That's what this whole match is. The Dudleys will get short spurts of advantage when Taker is distracted by Heyman. But ultimately, the Dudleys look like fucking geeks in this match because they're just getting dominated by one guy. Yes, it's The Undertaker, but the Dudleys are like one of the top tag teams in the company history at this point. Do you not think they should get maybe some more offense? They're just getting fucking jobbed out by one dude. The top tag team in the company. Just getting squashed. I don't know, man. And again, just a very... Like, at some point, Taker leaves the ring, charges Paul Heyman. Heyman's like, you take one more step, I'm going to pull this lever. And at that point, the Dudleys attack from behind once again, which I guess technically makes Taker take some more steps towards him. So Paul Heyman pulls the lever again. And now, because it's like chest height, it's like a little bit above nipple height now. Bubba goes over and he tells Paul Heyman to pull the lever up to stop the cement from flowing. Because the Dudleys want to end The Undertaker before Paul Bearer gets murdered on pay-per-view. That's the order of events they want to happen. So Bubba's like, oh, don't do this yet. We're going to go finish him off. We've been getting our asses kicked for 5-8 minutes. But now we got him. Now we got him where we want him, is what Bubba says. Well, sorry to tell you, Bubba, but no, you don't. Because nothing happens for a little bit. Dudleys get control for a little bit. Taker then comes back, hits his old school tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, 3. Undertaker gets the win. But that was not the right thing, in Paul Heyman's words. So Paul Heyman's like, yeah, you won, but you didn't do the right thing, so I'm going to just pull this lever. That was the sound of lightning, for those unfamiliar with what lightning sounds like. A lightning bolt strike. Wrestling is so fucking stupid, man. To stop a guy from getting engulfed in cement, a lightning bolt strikes the cement truck and sends Paul Heyman scurrying away with his urn. That is a sentence. Worse off, that is a thing that actually happened. So theoretically, Undertaker has stopped the inevitable death of his manager. He sent Paul Heyman scurrying. He's taken out the Dudleys. Paul Bearer is saved. Undertaker goes up. He walks up to the to the crypt. Does his pose in front of it, showing his respect to Paul Bearer. But then he looks at the lever. The Undertaker looks at the lever. He's mesmerized by it. Undertaker grabs the mic that Heyman dropped. Looks at Paul Bearer and says, Paul, I have no other choice. Rest in peace. Pulls the lever. Kills his manager. Thank you all for listening. That's just how the show ends, dude. By the way, on Peacock, I don't know about the original broadcast, but on Peacock, they cut it off before it reaches like the top of his head. But I'm here to tell you, I was there live. I seen it. I don't know how they fucking gimmicked this. Because they didn't actually kill Paul Bearer. Because he would, I only know this because he would come back in a few years with no explanation and then turns on the Undertaker, which now I'm thinking now he has like a reason. I don't know how they gimmicked this because, you know, they give you all the angles of it. Like it's, and my thought was like, maybe there's like a clear tube around Paul Bearer and it just like the cement just like fills everything around this tube, but it doesn't actually cover Paul. But you can see the cement splashing on his chest, and every angle you can see it's actually he's like in it. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna chat GPT this bad boy. We're gonna find this out together. We're gonna ruin the magic of pro wrestling by figuring out what the fuck they did here. All right, we're gonna do this together, folks. At great. Oh shit. Hold on. Gotta start a new one. At Great American Bash 2004, how did they gimmick Paul Bearer drowning in cement? Hopefully that's not too wrestling lingo for ChatGPT, but let's see what we got here. I'm taking away somebody's water supply for tonight by asking this question, but I think it's worth it. He was never inside the cement pit. Even though the storyline framed it as a live, real-time situation with Paul Bearer trapped in a glass case, Bearer wasn't actually inside the structure when the cement filled up. WWE switched between pre-taped shots and live angles to create the illusion. Oh, it's like different theories. That's one theory. There's another theory that said the glass enclosure had an escape space, which I imagine is how they handle buried alive matches. Cement was not real cement. I mean, yeah, probably not, right? I mean, did they? Because I guess I can't remember if I was like specifically watching. I mean, what else would I have been watching though? Because I'm pretty sure I remember him getting cut. He was out there, and he got covered in something. I don't know. Maybe I just got worked. Maybe it's just a mystery that we'll never know, everybody. Or maybe he just got shooted down, like, you know, when you go to the bank and you put your deal in the thing and go, shoot. Maybe it was just one of those situations, but he went down. I don't know. Or maybe he just passed away and then we reincarnated him somehow. Or we just found a Paul Bearer lookalike. The world will never know. But all we know is that The Undertaker killed his manager, and he deserves every time that Paul Bearer turned on him. So fuck him, I guess. But that's Great American Bash 2004, everybody. What a journey. How did I talk for 2 hours about this fucking... I was thinking this was going to be a short episode. It's just solo, hardest part of the ring. It's going to be a short one. Not a lot of meat on the bone with this show. Apparently there fucking was. But hey, it was my first show, so it deserved all the time we talked about it. It was my first live show that I went to. It was also the first live retro review that we've done on the Apron Bump here. Maybe I'll do some more of these in the future. We'll play around with it. We'll see. But appreciate everybody that hopped in the chat. Appreciate everybody listening and watching after the fact. Make sure you subscribe, like, rate, review, tickle my belly button, spit on my mouth, do all of those things. And until next time, fuck, where'd I go? I suck at this. I just took my camera off. Hold on. Here we go. This full cam. Here we go. Take this goddamn banner off, you piece of shit. You know what? Take the chat off too. Fuck you guys. Thanks, Scott, by the way. I said fuck you guys. He's like, great show, Mr. Hardon. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it.